Oh, bonjour. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Just going to sit here and kind of talk about some issues that are going on today. See, today President Trump finally signed the executive order to allow families to stay together, which it was going to happen sooner or later anyways. I know that, but it took a lot of people to start complaining and standing up to do this. So that's the most important thing, is that we all had a voice and we all stood up and we made our voice heard. And there's a lot of people that are doing things today. President Trump is going to be in Duluth, Minnesota. It's going to be up there. He should be arriving here any minute, and then he should be leaving here, getting on Air Force One, heading to Duluth, and coming over here to hold his roundtable and rally, which I found out that a lot of the people that are coming here to see him are from other states, and they're Trump supporters, and they just follow him all over. So if you're from Minnesota and you're going to get in there. Please get in there as soon as you can, and make sure that you're out there, you're booing, you're hissing, because we do not want this guy. He's not our president. He lies. He's trying to destroy climate change. He's trying to destroy everything that has been built, the Paris Agreement, on climate change. How do you pull the United States out of it? How do you pull the United States out of the Human Rights Organization? Whoa, what the hell? Excuse me, man. People gotta wake up and start seeing this. How can he just do that? Pull us out of an agreement, like that has to do with human rights. It's kind of the old adage. I hear a lot of people say that they compare Trump to Hitler. I have to agree. Totally. I think he is following in Hitler's footsteps. He's pulling out of all these agreements, and we have China that is putting tariffs on everything that we send to them. So that means this country's actually going to lose money on that end. And people don't understand that. And all these pipelines that are going across Canada, the United States, do you guys really think that oil is going to us? That oil is not going anywhere here in the United States. Okay? The whole thing about it is all this oil is going to China, India, like that, Europe. It's mainly going to China, though. So we're putting up these pipelines, and we're giving discounts to these to India and China for our oil over here. The oil that's coming from the tar sands, oil that's coming from Dakota Access Pipeline. All these pipelines, these gas pipelines, these LNG pipelines, and all these oil pipelines that are going in, the KXL that's coming through Canada, the Trans Mountain, all these pipelines are connected. Okay? And the big thing about it is that we have all this stuff going on, and we don't know, people don't understand that, the world is made up of 70% water, okay, 30% land. Out of that 70% of water that we have there, it's only 2.5% of it is fresh. Nestle Corporation owns 0.5% of the water in the world. That is what you get in your bottles, and all these subsidiary offshoots, Aquafina, all these places, they're all taking this water. California has had a drought for a long time, and you've seen the forest fires out there last winter. And now they're saying that they're going to have to restrict Californians to you do your shower or you do your laundry. You can't do both. And I'm like, what? What the hell is this? You know, does that tell you something? Does that tell you anything about what is going on today? You know, we have so many battles that are going on right now. We have the racial injustice, the kneeling. You know, the football players are kneeling during the national anthem for against racial injustice. Because you look at, you know, Frederick Brown, you look at Philando Castile, you know, Ferguson, Minnesota, everywhere across the United States, black people have been shot, you know, for their color. They've been racially profiled and they've been killed. That's why these football players kneel on the ground at this time. They do that because they're sick of seeing people die. We should all be sick of seeing people die. You know, this world, we only have one. And I got to tell you this, I'm kind of not, I'm not against Trump on this. I really like this part, is that he is starting a space program to start doing exploring. Okay? Which I can understand. Because we only have one world. Earth is only one world. We don't know of any other ones anywhere else. Okay? When this world dies, we all die. So all them chemicals that you're putting in the ground, all the oil that gets spilled on the ground, all these junkyards and all these pipelines, when that pipeline busts bus over to Mississippi in Iowa, the DAPL, when that busts, all that water, all downstream, all the way down to New Orleans, is gone. The fresh water is gone. It's contaminated. And then it's going to go back into the ocean. Going to float all the way down that river to the ocean. All the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Do you think that's not going to affect the fishing economy down there? Do you think that it's not going to affect the fresh water that comes from Mississippi? Even though it's the muddy Mississippi, you know, it's still fresh water. It's not salt water. You can boil it. I don't know if boiling it will really do anything. I think you have to do a boiling and filtration system to really get everything out. But it's fresh water. When you contaminate that, that means 15 to 17 million people that are down that river are going to lose their fresh water. You're going to lose your right to have clean drinking water. You're going to lose your right to all this stuff. That's the whole problem with all of this. People need to understand that we are destroying this earth. We're destroying people's rights, human rights. You know, it's not that, you know, we're not better than I'm not better than anybody else. You're not better than anybody else. We're not better than anybody else. We're all the same. You cut us, we all bleed the same color. It doesn't matter what skin color you have. If you cut someone, we all bleed the same. The only difference is in the places where we live. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Africa. Africa's so freaking hot. Okay? They had to have that darker pigmentation skin to be able to handle that heat and not get the burn that us lighter skinned people get over here in America. They're used to that heat. And their skin is that color for that reason. Now, you go down south here, the Mexicans and people that live down south are a lot darker than people up here. Why is that? Because they get more sun, because energy from the sun, and it's hotter. Up here, it gets hot. Like, you know, last weekend it was in the hundreds. Heat index. I think the actual temperature got to 97 one day. But still, to me, that was miserable. I got some health issues, but you know, the whole thing is I was miserable, but I still went and sat outside because I'm pretty light right now. Oh, sorry about that call. So so I haven't been out in the sun that much because of the medication I take, but I'm going to start going down. So I'm going to be moving to New Mexico. And when I move to New Mexico, one of the things is that I'm going to go down there for my health. That's the big reason. I want to be able to take care of my health and to be able to some people at one. There's a couple camps down there. You know, I've always been a part of this. I want to stay a part of this. Being a water protector, earth defender, and prayer warrior, we we all need to understand this. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna leave it at this. We are all human beings. Please treat each other as human beings. It's hard not to get angry about words, but we have to understand that everybody has to have a right. We have to go back to the right of the natural law, the way of the pipe and the eagle feather. It's very important. So I'd like to say to all of you, as you sit here and watch, I don't know if any of you will see this later or what, but I just want to let everybody know that, we need to stand together. We need to unify. We're we're not fucking animals. We're human beings. We all need to be treated like human beings. That goes for me too. Sometimes I get a little angry at some of the stuff that people say on this, on Twitter and on Facebook. But the thing is that I still respect people enough and don't push my way of life on them. Yes, I say way of life because that's what it is. Ours is not my people's way is not a religion. My people's way is a way of life. We live this way 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Put out tobacco in the morning and pray in the morning before we go out. Pray at night before we go to bed. That's how I do it anyways. Some people might do it different, but I always make sure that I'm praying for Mother Earth too, because Mother Earth, if she dies, I'm going to die. And that's what I need everybody to understand. And to understand that Donald Trump, we have to push him in a different direction. I don't care what you guys say. He can't be president in 2020. He can't be. We have to put somebody else in there and just make sure whoever we put in office that that they're good, that they do the things they need to do. I know their hands are tied. I know people's hands are tied on a lot of things, but Donald Trump has shown this, and I will say this. Donald Trump has shown that your hands don't have to be tied all the time to do something. He just went out and did what he needed, what he thought was best, okay? Yes, he feels an influx in this country, and if you look over in Europe right now, Europe has Muslims, millions of Muslims marching in the streets in Europe and destroying houses, destroying people's homes, beating women that are sitting on the corner because they don't have a hijab. This stuff has got to stop. And I understand that why he doesn't want, that happening over here. But here's the thing about happening over here. It can already happen over here because you, Mr. Trump, you are an immigrant. Remember that. Unless your ancestors like mine are from this continent, are from here, my ancestors lived here for 5,000 years before a white man came. Our religions, they can't even really date our religion. Nobody really knows. The white buffalo calf pipe, we have no idea how old that is, really. It's been carried around for many generations, many, many generations. And people have to understand, that that's what this is all about. It's about love, compassion for your fellow human being. And also, one of the big things is that this is for us to communicate together, to be able to stand with each other and not argue and not we can have disagreements, we can have opinions, but let's get away from the violence, I'd like to even, find a way to bring all the gangs together. I think, to bring all the gangs together to get them to go out and help out and do things. I think it's real important that everybody has a part in this. All the groups, Native Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. We all need to start coming around this and rounding that, making that circle real powerful and strong, and love everybody, respect everybody, honor their things, honor their wishes. Don't we try to do the best we can as human beings, but if we're showing no love and we're showing no compassion, we can be evil and we can be bitter and we can be hateful. And we need to stop that. We all need to stop that. We just need to stop being hateful. We need to start showing more love and compassion and get rid of the hatred. It's so ugly, and there's so many battles on. We got heroin going on too. Heroin's a national epidemic right now. There's people dying everywhere from it, and fentanyl. They're putting this shit in everything. Found out a friend of mine was doing some cocaine, and next thing you know, I heard they told me he did it, and not even like 20 minutes later, he was laying on the ground. They were like, "What are you doing laying down?" He couldn't answer because he was overdosed on fentanyl. That's what they put in it. So he was they had to take him to the hospital, and they told him straight out, what he did, and they put an alert out here. I don't know if they put an alert out anywhere else, but there's fentanyl and everything now. So we have to be careful because, this is another big issue that's going on that we really need to talk about, that we really need to get a handle on. But the thing is you all have to understand that there's back doors for drugs in this country. There always has been. And it's through our own people. The person that that is over there in Afghanistan protecting the poppy fields, our military. Do you think that the CIA doesn't have a hand in this and bringing drugs over here? Do you think that the Taliban doesn't have a hand in this? The Taliban and the CIA work hand in hand, just like the Medellin cartel works hand in hand with the CIA, which worked hand in hand with Manuel Noriega, which brought the cocaine to Nicaragua, and then they would bring it over to Houston to give to a man named Rick Ross. They taught him how to make crack cocaine. That was back in the 80s. Back in the 90s, Vietnam, you had the the triangle, the heroin triangle, similar to the Bermuda Triangle, but it was all over there in Laos and places like that. And our servicemen came back addicted to heroin back then in the 60s and 70s. And y'all know the story about Bumpy Johnson. It's a true story. Frank brought in heroin all over New York, Harlem, Bronx, wherever, That stuff is real. That stuff is happening. You got to pay attention. I would like to ask everybody, research everything. Even when I talk about research, it's make sure you can find the truth. Because that's the whole thing, is we need to find the truth to all these matters. We need to find out, because I know for a fact, and I've talked to veterans that have been into Afghanistan, that have guarded the poppy fields. I've talked to them. I've seen them. And they've told me their stories. We guard the poppy fields, and they bring that over here. That drug is coming over here through the CIA and through our own government. Our government is the biggest drug dealers in the world. The drug business is a $300 to $500 billion a year industry. Do you think that there is not something going on with all these drugs. I mean, you can't say that the government ain't getting their cut right now, because I know they are. They're getting theirs. The politicians are getting theirs. It's crookedness all the way around. That's why I would call this a sham government. We need to put, I mean, here's the thing about it. I understand the older guys that are in there now, have been doing this for a long time. They know the ropes. But it's like a teacher that has been at a school for 20 years. Okay? Teacher that has been at school for 20 years teaches the same way that she did when she first started schooling. And you go to that teacher and you say, look, my child is ADHD, or my child is autistic, so we need to teach him different. And then the teacher says, well, I don't have time to do that because I have 75 students in my class and I can't do one-on-one with every one of them. So they push our kids through school. I know a 15-year-old kid right now is being pushed through school that has a second grade education level. Sad. A second grade education level. He's 15 years old in high school. But the teachers just pushed him through. Didn't care about him. Not like when I was growing up. Man. There's like maybe 25 kids in my class. But the teacher had time to go around to every one of us and show us things and teach us things. But I also did a lot of studying on my own. I came out pretty good. I got my GED when I was 16. And, it was more one-on-one with the teachers back then. Nowadays, we have so many people. The world is exploding from birth. We have so many births. We have 10,000 people being born a day. Probably more than that. Probably more like 20. Okay, I know in the United States they say that every month 20,000 children are born just in the United States in 1 month. So you really think about that. Those are huge numbers. We got to figure 18 years down the road, we got to take the trees out for the resources to build them a house, and then build, get their table and all that stuff, and then have them have another car built just for them. This is the economics. I wish there was a way we could go back to the barter and trade deal, because I think the barter and trade deal would be much better. But like they say, tomatoes ain't gonna be able to go in my gas tank. Corn's not gonna be able to go. Well, corn, nothing all will go in my gas tank. But I mean, you can't pay for gas with our goods. So we need to come up with a better system, though. I'm thinking on how to do this, and if anybody has any ideas, you can hit me up at Badboy Mustang at badboy306mustang@gmail.com, or you can hit my Twitter handle Bearwolf at Oshkabewas, or you can hit me on Facebook at Damian Michel. Michel is the name. My real name is Bad Boy. Facebook does not allow me to put my last name on there. My real name is Damian Michel Bad Boy. I'm an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation. I'm a Anishinaabe Dakota. And I just try to use my voice so that people can understand what's going on and hear what's going on. Because it's real important that we understand that it's time we stand together, that we stand up and we do something about what is happening in this world. Because if we don't, we're going to destroy it for our children and our grandchildren. They're not going to have nothing. We got to make sure that we leave them something, because we borrow this earth from our children. Please remember that. I see the mothers too, life givers. The women, please respect them. Make sure that they're okay. Protect them. Oh yeah, this was something else I wanted to talk about, and I kind of forgot. I'm going to cut my videos to like 30 minutes because it takes a long time to download. My phone will get real hot, and I just want to make sure that I have a battery, for later. So I'd like to say this. You got to really think about this, because this is a devastation to the community, every community, and every race, every color, every creed. We have to remember that, you know, it's real important that we take care of the children and the women. And, you know, I've seen these videos, they showing them these men that are just pounding on these women. Of course, it was a Japanese video, but it doesn't matter. It's just, you know, that's something that's happening in our culture that needs to stop. Also, you know, if you haven't heard, they said smoking has gone down. People are quitting smoking. People are not smoking cigarettes as much anymore. But here's something you got to think about. If they're not smoking cigarettes, what are they smoking to replace that? What are they doing to replace that? Well, I found out from one of my friends. He's from Denver, Colorado. And he said, I quit smoking cigarettes. He'd never smoked pot a day in his life. Never. Goes down to Colorado, moves down there with his family, and all of a sudden, I'm like, you quit smoking? Yeah, I quit smoking cigarettes. Oh, yeah. Well, how's Colorado? Oh, I love Colorado, man. I really like the weed here. I'm like, what did you say? Yeah, that's why I quit smoking cigarettes, because I smoke weed now. And I was like, wow. Does it work? He said, yeah, actually, he said it's kind of bad for you, because he goes, you quit cigarettes. And he goes, one of the things when you quit smoking cigarettes is that you gain a lot of weight. So you have to be very careful about doing that. And you have to make sure that you take care of yourself in the best way possible. Make sure you get out and get exercise. But to hear him quit smoking cigarettes and start smoking marijuana, I was pretty impressed. He said it makes him feel better, and he's not putting on the weight like he thought he would, because he got the munchies, you know. No, he's not. He hasn't put on any weight. He's actually doing better. He's working out. And he said he feels way more healthy. He breathes a lot better. He still runs 5 miles a day. And I'm just like, wow, that's pretty impressive, man. Keep it up. And he's going to get his license down there and start a business too. And he wants to start a business making teas, which if you know anything about Native American history, one of the reasons they use that term medicine man is because they'd see us boiling herbs and stuff all the time, you know, and then passing it around people that were sick and stuff. That's why that term medicine man came out, which isn't really a term like that. We just consider ourselves Oshkobewa, or, you know, our people considered them Oshkobewas, helpers to the people. So anyways, I'm going to be getting off here, and I would like to thank you, Noah, if you can share this video, make sure that people start seeing it, and that, you have any comments on something you want to talk about on a show, hit me up on Twitter at Bearwolf at Oshkobewas, or hit me at badboy306mustang@gmail.com, or you can hit me at, you can friend request me. Let me know that you see my video on YouTube, and I will friend you. And make sure that you have a picture on your profile, because I'm not accepting people if they don't have a picture of themselves in the profile. And if you got to be very careful, because I'm a water protector and I'm an earth defender and I'm a prayer warrior, and I want to keep it that way. So I hope. It's Tuielo, Matakio Yasin. Y'all have a great day, and thank you for watching. I hope to get more viewers on this. Thank you.